So, most people say they want to do hard things, but very few are willing to step into something where failure is public and pain is guaranteed. So, today's episode is about just that. Welcome back to EHC Unfiltered, where we strip away the fluff and we talk about performance identity systems that actually drive results. I've got my guy Joe on today, someone that I have known since high school. And now he's getting ready to step into the cage for his upcoming fight. And I actually get to sponsor him for this fight. So this isn't a conversation about just training. This is about what it actually takes to prepare to fight another human being, the discipline, the pressure, the mindset, and just who you have to become to get there. So, Joe, for someone hearing your name for the first time, who are you? How did you end up here? Introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. You did a good job introducing it right there. I'm Joe Poirier. Joey Guns is the fight name. 7-2 pro. Um, yeah, just getting ready for my upcoming fight May 9th with Cage Titans at Plymouth Memorial Hall. So that should be a good one. Got a undefeated guy, 5-0, going up against. He's coming all the way from Ecuador, first time fighting in the States. So that should be
Really?
interesting.
That would
Yeah.
be cool to see. I'm hoping I want to try to get out there. And we'll talk about tickets and stuff later, but tell me a little bit, how long have you been fighting now? It's been since high school, just after, somewhere around there?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I did karate growing up, and then a little bit of wrestling, and then after high school, I through mutual friends met a coach, Pete Luciani, who was just getting out of his like kind of fighting era and getting into his coaching era. So it was kind of perfect timing, and I became one of his first like students. And I was training with him for a little while at SBG in Wareham. It's actually an affiliate gym with the SBG that like Conor McGregor trains out of in Ireland. So there's a lot of cross lineage there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was around 2017, 2016. And then I decided to actually go to Thailand for 2 months and live at a Muay Thai camp called Sit Song Pinong. A lot of Muay Thai world champions out there from that gym. Decided to go there, spent Christmas out there and everything, training.
I'm gonna say, I thought you were out there a little longer than 2 months. I don't know why.
Yeah, it felt longer, man. It felt longer being out there, not speaking the language, all that. But it was cool because there's a lot of other foreigners at the camp. There was one or two other Americans, a lot of guys from like London and stuff like that. So
That's pretty
made a
cool.
lot of friends out there. Actually took my first fight out there too. First actual fight. It was a Muay Thai fight. But a lot of the coaches out there, don't speak a lot of English, like, they have in-house coaches that live in the camp, and then you kinda just you live in the camp too, and you wake up, go for your morning run, morning training session, eat lunch, go to your second training session, so it's kinda just fully immerses you in the fight world, and
Yeah,
then,
it's almost like a boot camp.
yeah, my coach came up to me about halfway through the experience, and he goes, "You fight this weekend." I go, "Alright, sounds good." And I was honestly worried because a few other guys had fought out there, and it's pro only in Thailand. In amateur you start amateur, in the States, and there's, like, bigger gloves, shin guards, no elbows to the face, but when you're in Thailand, there's none of that, so it's straight to little gloves, elbows, and a lot of guys would get cut, in their fight, and then you're out in Thailand, and you have to spend a week or 2 with stitches and can't really train, so I was a little worried about that, but luckily, I went out there, won a unanimous decision, didn't get hurt at all, and, could keep training the rest of the time out there.
That's awesome. I mean, like, I can only imagine what it was like to just, like you said, just submerge yourself in that entirely. How different was it from, say, like, your life before fighting? What did your life look like before you started training for this?
Yeah, I mean, I was in school to be an orthodontist, which is actually kind of ironic going from wanting to fix teeth to breaking them.
To
But,
taking them out, yeah.
yeah, I was just kind of all set with the kinda normal 9 to 5 and and being a part of the system, I wanted to do something that made me happy, something that I look forward to every day, and, I'm super competitive, and I think fighting is one of the most competitive real-time sports you can do, they say it's like chess with your body, and it really is,
Yeah.
so I kind of fell in love with it after that trip to Thailand, and when I got back from there, I immediately took my first amateur MMA fight and, went great. I finished the dude in just about a minute of the first round. Um, yeah, and been running ever since.
But so Thailand for you was really that big shift from, like, just training to actually competing, right?
Yeah, yep, that's, like, where I got my first sense of competition in the sport.
Because, I mean, there's a big difference between saying you fight and then knowing that there's a date, an opponent, like, all
Yeah,
that, no way out, so
yeah, you go to
when
bed
did it
every night thinking about that fight for sure.
when did it become real for you that you were like, "I'm gonna be a fighter, like, this is what I'm doing"?
Literally, like, before I even took my first fight, when I walked into the gym, and I think you almost need that mindset in MMA. It's not really a sport you can be half in, half out of,
Mhm.
with the serious repercussions that it does on your body and your health,
Absolutely.
I don't think it's something that you can take lightly, and if you do hop into it and wanna fight, I think it's something you need to take serious. Because if you don't, there's a guy out there that is taking it 100% serious,
He's gonna fuck
He's
you up.
breathing. Yeah, exactly, and he'll fuck you up, so it's something I took serious from the very beginning, and I went in there with the attitude that I wanted to be in the UFC, and, I don't think we're too far off of that goal,
I was gonna say that's where we're heading now, right? That's the idea.
for
So,
sure.
let's take a look at, Thailand a little bit. What did, like, a full day in fight camp actually look like? Like, I know you said you kinda had breakfast, had your morning training, maybe you had some, lunch and then a second training, and is that just kind of rinse and repeat,
Yeah,
for the 2
so it
months?
was, the camp was, like, 45 minutes outside of Bangkok, so it's kind of in more of a rural area, a lot of the Thais there have never even seen an American before. For foreigner, it's called farang. So you'd be walking around and like a little kid would see you stop and point and be like farang, farang. So that was kind of a culture shock. But yeah, it was pretty much wake up, go across the street to the park they had and run 5K. And then as soon as you get back, it's morning session of pads and bag work and all that. Then you eat lunch at the camp. That's all included in, like, the price that you pay. They feed you twice a day, which is cool,
Yeah,
and,
that's solid.
so it'd be the afternoon session, and then you kinda just get to chill for the rest of the day after, like, probably 5 o'clock. So we'd go around to some of the street markets and check that out because everything's so cheap out there, you
Yeah.
can try pretty much everything. So we'd walk around. Some nights we'd go into the city and watch, like, Muay Thai fights, like, some of the bigger fights that were going on. Um, One night we actually, Tyga was out there, so we went to a club and saw Tyga perform. That was pretty cool.
That's pretty sick. So, I mean, the camp itself, like, while it was very stringent and demanding, you also like, you were living your life still in Thailand, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know, like, when I was in, like, Japan and Korea, that was the best part of it was when you're, off work, which is kinda what that was for you out there was work, so,
Yep.
um so what's been something that's been harder than you expected?
I'd say just the constant grind, you know what I mean? You gotta stay focused even on the days that you don't feel like getting up and training, you're sore or just unmotivated. You gotta be able to put yourself through that and keep pushing through that grind, because all the other guys are out there grinding and you can't take any time off.
Yeah, and that's I mean, most people think, discipline is about motivation. I have this conversation all the time, but, uh, what you're doing isn't from motivation, it's almost more from, like, an obligation to yourself. So, Do you feel motivated every day, or are you just doing what has to be done?
No, there's definitely days you're not motivated, don't wanna get up and go to the gym, body's aching, body's screaming at you to take a rest day, which sometimes you do have to listen to your body. I do think that's important, but there's definitely days you gotta push through it. Um, I'd say some of my best training sessions are days I don't wanna go into the gym, and then I get in there and train and push through it, and, some of those are some of the days that I feel the best after a training session, So I think it's important to not always feel your best, but still get in there and perform. Because fight night, your body might not be feeling the best, but you're still gonna have to get in there and fight. You know what I mean? So you got to learn to push those
Yeah, and I mean
emotions
that's
aside.
that's something that's applicable to everybody, really, right? Is even if you're preparing and planning for things and you have like a picture of the way things are supposed to go in your mind, sometimes shit hits the fan. And one of my favorite sayings actually is everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face.
Yep.
So and that applies perfectly for you. But we've touched on it a couple times. You keep saying, the other guys are working just as hard, if not, harder if you take, an extra day off that you don't need and things like that. What goes through your head knowing that someone else is trying to hurt you? Like, do you ever think about losing or getting knocked out, or is it a complete aggressive approach?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said you don't think about the worst possible outcomes. You know what I mean? Getting out there in your underwear in front of 3,000 people, getting knocked out would be terrible. You know what I
I mean,
mean?
not good.
So
You've done it
as
to a
far as
person, I think.
motivation goes, there's not much better motivation than that. You know what I mean? Getting
Yeah,
getting
not
knocked
getting
out in
knocked out
front
in
of your
front of
family
someone.
and friends. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, is that something that you have more in kinda like the back of your mind, like, as you're training and everything, and you're like, "This is why I'm doing it," and then it goes away when you enter the ring and you kinda turn it on, where you're like,
Yeah,
"Alright, it's time."
I'd say kind of like during the training camp, you're high spirited and you're pushing through the camp, but like as like the second week, a week out from the fight, all those thoughts start creeping in your head every night before you go to bed. You're envisioning the outcome, the walk out there, everything, you know. Yeah, it definitely plays a part, but I'd say as the actual fight night starts happening and, like, people are filling into the venue and you start soaking up that atmosphere, those, negative thoughts start to go out the window and it turns into just you in there, you know?
Yep. Especially I know, I'm comparing it to other things here, obviously, but, like, especially even, like, with, like, modeling, right? We ran into each other in Miami when I was down there for Men's Fashion Week. When you are getting ready for it and everything, like you're kind of nervous, whatever, excited, right when the time's coming up, like even if you're excited for it, like you still got that like
Yeah.
heart beating in your chest, you know what I
And I
mean? And
think
then,
that's normal, that's important, if you didn't have that, you wouldn't feel like something's on the line, you
yeah,
wanna
that's
you wanna
true. That's
feel
very
like
true.
something's on the line.
But for you, like when you walk out there, as soon as there's the lights and the people cheering and the cameras and all that, when you get in the actual ring, do you get like more of like tunnel vision, like all of that's gone? Like it's literally just you and this guy?
I'd say when I first started fighting, for sure, like you get super tunnel vision. You have to remember to breathe when you're in there. You know what I mean? You'll feel yourself like, oh shit, I haven't took a breath in a while. I should I should take a breath. But as you get more comfortable in there, I'm going into my 10th pro fight now. I had 6 amateur fights. You start to be able to really soak it in a little bit more and you can hear the crowd yelling and stuff and you don't get that tunnel vision as bad.
I mean, that's yeah, I don't because I love, one of the things you used to say all the time when we hung out, like, in high school, right out of high school, especially when we were hanging out with, like, Kevin Harkins, shout out to Kev, uh,
Yeah.
as you would look up at me and him and be like, "You guys think you can just rain hands, beat my ass because 'cause you're bigger, huh?" And we'd be like,
You
"Yeah,
guys are two
kinda, a
big
little bit."
dudes. Two big dudes.
I don't think that's the case anymore.
Once you put them on their back, everybody's the same size, you know what I mean?
That's true, that's a good one. But, I mean, most people avoid things that make them uncomfortable, right? You're voluntarily walking into something not only uncomfortable, but actually dangerous. What
Yeah.
does fear feel like for you right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I always say I try to make myself comfortable in the uncomfortable, you know? I think that's where you do your most growing as a person is when you if something hard is put in front of you and you have to find a way to push through it. That's where there's really real character building in people. That's why I think you see a lot of martial artists are very zen and disciplined people, you know, because creates a lot of character having to push through those scary moments, and it's scary to get in there and fight somebody in front of your family and friends, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, because as much as it sucks for you guys, because and I say you guys just as fighters in general, right? In today's world, especially, you kinda almost have to have a little bit more of that, like, woo-saw vibe because you can't pop off anymore like you used to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you can't really you guys especially can't lose your cool because it would be very bad for whoever was
Yeah,
involved, but,
yeah.
um so who do you have to become to do something like this? Because I mean, I know plenty of people who are, you know, hotheads with hands who don't do this kind of thing, you know what I mean? It's a different kind of environment, it's a different kind of person you need to be, so, um, yeah, just what version of yourself, I guess, from even a few years ago couldn't do something like this now?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it's being put through that fire and coming out the other end, and, after you do that so many times, you know, you build a certain level of confidence that comes with that, you know, there's something you've never done before, and then you go out there and do it. Now it's achievable, you know, it's within grasp, it's tangible, and, once you see you can do something like that, it elevates you to the next step. "Oh, what can I do next?" You know what I mean? So, you need to put yourself through those hard moments, through the fire, and come out the other end, and that's how you grow, you know?
Well, because especially at, like, the beginning of something like this, like, realistically, I mean, obviously, you had a support system of sorts, right? But it is kinda something you're doing on your own, right? You don't have anyone making you do this,
Yeah,
you
it
know?
it
This
definitely it takes a village to make a fighter, but at the end of the day, it's just you in there, you know what I mean, doing what you needed to do. So, no matter how many people you have around you supporting you and everything, you need to be secure in your own groundings and be able to handle that pressure on by yourself to be able to make it.
and like you said, I mean, even though like, it's on you, it's on your shoulders to that extent, like you said, it takes a village. What does it mean to you to have, you know, those people backing you for something like this? Like, those people that believe in you?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about motivation. That's one of the great motivators. You know what I mean? Having somebody else have belief in you. I think that's really important. You see that a lot in the martial arts community. You see a lot of kind of like not just a coach, but a mentor. You know what I mean? Somebody that can kind of guide you through it. And I think that's part of the reason why MMA fighters um, are kinda develop that personality because I think having a mentor is very important, you know, whether it's your father or just a father figure or somebody that's been there that can show you how it's done, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, I've had, you know, a handful of mentors to an extent at this point. Uh, and, you know, some of them I'm not even on great terms with anymore, but it's like, yeah, I absolutely would not be, you know, where I am now, have the knowledge and, you know, abilities that I have without it. Uh, so shout out to all the mentors out there, big and small. But um, when people are watching and now there's people backing you, like that either breaks people or sharpens them. It sounds like for you, it sharpens you up a little bit, but have you ever seen like someone before a fight, like something in their corner, like kind of threw them off?
Yeah, I mean, especially in MMA, like, there's tons of guys that are killers in the gym, like, absolute killers, and then once that added pressure of the lights and people watching, turn on, they freeze up, you know what I mean? So, I think that's also why a lot of people are like they see, like, a UFC world champion, and they're like, "Oh, he's not doing anything I couldn't do," you know what I mean? But you amplify the pressure, people's abilities start going out of the window, you know? So I think that's one of the most important things that make people successful is their ability to thrive in that pressure. And
I could not agree more. It's funny because I'm drawing a lot of parallels to, like, the military, even just from, like, it seems like the overall environment of, like, how you guys operate day to day, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that part, that's very interesting for me. Uh, but walk me through fight day. What's the date of your next fight again?
May 9th.
May 9th in Plymouth. Um, Walk me through fight day from waking
Yeah,
up to stepping in the cage, man. What does
yeah.
Joey
So
Guns do to get ready for a fight?
so Saturday, the early part of the day is still a lot of eating, because we weigh in the day before. So
So you're fueling
I
up now.
Yeah, so I already went through my weight cut. This fight's at 125, so cut down to that, make that weight. Saturday, I'm waking up. I try to sleep in as much as I can, get a good night's sleep. Wake up in the morning, get a good breakfast in, healthy, a lot of carbs. Then we'll usually go to the gym and we call it a morning shakeout.
Mm.
'Cause usually by Saturday, it's been a day or 2 since I've actually, like, worked out. Cause most of the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is just dealing with the weight cut. So Saturday, we'll do a shakeout, get the body loose, get a good sweat going. Um, then I'll go home, usually try to nap again in the afternoon, um, eat a small lunch. Um These last few fights have been later in the night because towards the end of the card, so sometimes I'm fighting at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, So, it's real important to keep your food up, keep eating carbs, because your body also is going into, like, a fight or flight stage, like,
Yeah, you
reaction,
got
so,
that
like
anxiety going through your body. You
yeah,
got a
so
lot
you're
of
not as hungry, but it's important to keep eating. I'll bring a few snacks with me when I get to like the venue. Usually I'll show up there around like 6, 7 o'clock. I usually like to bring like some fruit with me, some honey. I'll have that in the back room while everybody's warming up. Um, then usually the fights will start going, the amateurs and all that, and that's when you kinda start getting pumped up, start hitting pads, loosening up in the back, and, then it's about just kinda staying calm, while you're back there. You don't wanna let your energy levels get too high too early in the day, because then you'll be zapped by the time it's fight
Yeah,
time, you know what
especially
I
if you're
mean?
at the end of the card. If you spend all day,
Exactly.
anxious and shit, then by the
Yeah,
time
so
it's
it's
time for you
actually
to
a
fight,
lot
you're gonna
of
be out of energy.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of resting on fight day, trying to stay calm.
Well, that's
I do a lot of
especially after dieting and stuff the way that you do to get down to, your fight weight. Because you say weigh in at 125. What would you say you are on, like, your fight day when you step in that cage? Probably, like, 10 pounds almost more, I would guess?
usually more, yeah.
Yeah.
They usually weigh us in the back room when like we show up to the venue. I think last fight I fought at 125. I was about 142 on
God
fight night.
damn.
Yeah.
And, I mean, a lot of that's just water because 'cause I'm guessing you dry out before.
Yeah, I'd say probably a good 7, 8 pounds of water that I take off and put back on. Yeah.
But it can be done. Uh,
Yeah.
so when that cage door shuts, man, and it's just you and him, what do you feel in that moment? Because I've seen a few of your clips, and I'll say I knew you. We haven't been in touch much since high school other than running into each other randomly in Miami.
Yeah.
Um, but I know Joe a little bit, and I can kinda see that mental process going on your face when you're in there, and you look like you're ready to eat someone, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're ready to fuck with them a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what is going on in Joe's head in that moment as soon as that door closes?
Um, Once the fight actually starts, my mind goes pretty blank. You're relying on things are happening so fast in there that you can't really set a game plan. You kind of have to fall back on your training, and it's just muscle memory taking over at that point. So it's not really like I'm not thinking like, oh, throw a jab here, move out of the way here. Oh, I'm gonna get him with this combo. It's really just leaning back on your training and, kinda being emotionless in there. But
Like,
I'd
you
say, like,
react.
as they're announcing my name and everything, I'm definitely thinking, like, "This guy's trying to take everything that I worked for, like, I'm not gonna let him do that." You know what I mean? Like, this guy's trying to kill
Starting
me.
to hype yourself up a little bit. Well, okay, because that's the thing, right? Is like, and with this, like, you can get like seriously injured doing this kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so, we've all seen like the videos and stuff of what happens when people get kicked in the head one too many times. So,
Yeah,
mhm,
CTE is real.
indeed. But what has this taught you? What is this whole process? Because this now you started back in what 2016, 2017
Yep.
ish. And now we're in 2026. So we're a decade into this. What has this taught you about discipline? And what do people get wrong about doing hard things?
Yeah, I'd say it's just about embracing that grind, embracing that journey. You can put I've seen it happen to a lot of my training partners, and it's just the way that everything works. You grind for a certain amount of time, however long it is, and then you feel like you're making no ground, and then all of a sudden overnight things will just change for you. You know what I mean? So it's really about just sticking with it, and even when you feel like you're not making any headway, that that everything you are looking for could be right around the corner, you know what I mean? So, just keep grinding and don't, uh don't have so much, negative self-talk, you know what I mean? Things are always darkest before they're light?
Yeah, and even the way that like we phrase things, right, makes a difference in how we perform a lot, right? If you wake up every day for training thinking how much this sucks and how much like you're afraid of the fight or something, and like you're not, obviously not going to be ready when you get there. You're going to get your ass beat if you do fight, if you don't pull out. Uh,
Yeah, I think positive self-talk is a huge thing. I do a lot of envisioning, not just of the actual fight, but I envision what I want my life to look like whether it's material stuff or not, or envisioning even like the fans giving me high fives on the way to the cage. You know what I mean? Like I envision every aspect of it, and try to fill myself with those positive thoughts.
yeah, and I mean that's huge too. I even do that with the gym. Like even like the day before I go lift or something, or like walking to the gym, whatever it is, I'll be like looking at my workout log from like the week before or whatever, and I'm starting to like picture like the exercises that I'm doing, the weights that I'm moving, what it feels like just prepare. It's a way of like preparing your body for like what's next, what's coming, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Um,
I think that envisioning is very important. Positive self talk and manifesting it.
and it's funny because a lot of that like woo woo kind of shit, uh, people tend to like push away from. And that's actually one of the things that I lean into the most is like, uh, doing stuff like that and doing like the positive affirmations, reframing, getting outside and getting sunlight in your eyes. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that actually make like the biggest difference in people's, like outlook even. But most people can't stick to a diet, can't stay consistent in the gym. but expect results, you know? You're preparing for a fight. So where's the big difference there, you know, between just like a how do I want to phrase it? Just the difference between say like a bodybuilder, right? Cuz bodybuilders are also on a very strict, diet regimen, waking up, training 2 times a day. So there's a lot of comparisons, but when bodybuilders compete, it's not getting punched in the face. So,
Yeah. Well,
what
I
what do
mean,
you
this
think makes it different for you?
there's definitely high stakes to bodybuilding as well, there's serious injuries and
Absolutely.
things along with that. Um, I think there's more similarities to things with fighting than anything else, and I think that's due to just how primal fighting is, and when you get
Mm.
down to something that primal, I think it branches out into other fields, like, pretty easily. Uh,
That's a really good point. I'm gonna have to think more about that, but yeah, because I was gonna say, I think it depends on the person as far as, like, what you're able to take lessons from, and I think people like fighters, like bodybuilders, military, like all that, they're able to take lessons from different portions of their life and kind of draw those connections to make it make sense to them in the moment or make it make sense to someone else to explain it. Um,
I think I draw a lot of those comparisons too because I feel like I've reached a almost a mastery level of fighting at this point. I'm been doing it for almost a decade, and I think it takes about a decade to reach a master level of something. And I think once you do reach a master level of something, it's a lot easier to master other things because you can draw from that kind of formula and apply it to other areas.
Absolutely,
So,
because that's funny that you say that because that's a similar concept to what people with money say when they say the first million is the hardest.
you know,
Because once you make the first one, you know you can do it, and then it just keeps going. And it's funny because even in the gym, when people have like a sticking point with one of their lifts, let's just use the bench for an example. Benching 225 is a huge thing for a lot of boys, right? But it's funny how much easier it gets once you can do it the first time,
you know,
you know? Uh, so I really like that. I think that's a good little ending wrap up here. But Joe, before we wrap this up, uh, let people know where they can follow you and keep up with the fight.
yes, sir. I'm on Joe Poirier on Instagram, JoePoirier. Fighting May 9th, like we said, with Cage Titans at Plymouth Memorial Hall. Gonna be giving this guy his first loss, so come check it out. If you can't get tickets and be there in person, there's a stream that you can get the link to. So yeah, I'd love to have you guys out and show some support.
Yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, I can make it out there for the actual fight. I would love to sit, ringside as my
Yeah, it's
as
a
my
different type of
first.
atmosphere there at Plymouth Memorial Hall too.
Well, especially, I mean, you're my first sponsored athlete in a sense, right?
Yeah,
So I feel like I have to be there, support the homies.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
But look, most people will never step into a cage, but they're fighting something every single day. Their habits, their
Yeah,
discipline, their comfort zone. Uh, the difference is most people avoid it. Joe here is choosing to walk straight into it. And whether it's a fight, it's your health, it's your mindset, or it's your life, at some point you have to decide, are you staying comfortable or are you going to step into it?
I
So
like that.
Thanks, Joe. But if you got value from this episode, share it with someone who needs it. You can follow me on Instagram at EHC_Steven, and that's Steven with a V, for more content around performance, mindset, and building systems that actually work. We will see you at the next episode of EHC Unfiltered. Joe, thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Steve.